with the Open University and being able to be part of the Employability Week at the Open University. So if we go on to introductions, there's our lovely photos. Apologies, by the way, if you've got the captions on, they might not pick up our accents. I know they struggle sometimes with this part of the world. But to start off, my name is Conor. I am the Senior Early Careers Advisor at Fieldfisher in Belfast. I have been with the firm for about 6 months now. Prior to that, I worked for 8 years in financial services. I suppose financial services is very similar to law in terms of like the structure of the firms, but there's a lot of sort of small changes. And I suppose my perspective might be quite interesting for you because I still feel quite new to a law firm, and sort of the new things that I've seen might be able to help you sort of understand what it might be like working at a law firm. But yeah, at the financial services firm, I worked there for 8 years. The last 4 years of that, I was in the early careers team, so I was really responsible for the graduate and the placement roles at that place. And then I've moved over, as I said, into Fieldfisher, into the world of law. And yeah, our whole team is responsible for the attraction, recruitment, development, training, management of all early careers people who come into Fieldfisher within the entire UK. But myself and Ruairi are specifically in Belfast, but we'll be able to sort of tailor our chat today to wherever you are within the UK. But passing over to Ruairi to introduce himself.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Conor. So my name is Ruairi. I have been at Fieldfisher for almost 5 years now. So my background was a wee bit different. I was in hospitality for, I think, 13, 14 years before I did join Fieldfisher. So yeah, it has been sort of a wee bit of a U-turn, but so obviously I'm a junior early careers advisor in the firm. Yeah, so we'll be happy to present today.
Thank you very much, Ruairi. So what will we cover in today's session? We will be looking at what a typical law firm structure looks like, the types of lawyers that they are. Then Ruairi will go into who we are Fieldfisher, and then I'll finish off, go through some of the early careers positions that we have within Fieldfisher, and a bit about the recruitment process, but that's a smaller part. I know you've got another session on that during the week. So, typical law firm structure. So I want to start off and just chat about what the different types of law firms are. So there are roughly around 1,100 law firms just in England and Wales, not even the whole of the United Kingdom, but just in England and Wales, there's roughly 11,000. And no two are exactly the same. There's a whole range of different kinds of law firm that vary by size, location, client base, key practice areas, and approach to cases or ethos. I want to run through some of the terminology that, to be honest, was very new to me 6 months ago, and might be able to help you. So full serve, and I understand as well that a lot of this you may already know from your course, but I know for myself this was valuable. So I'll try to convey some of the knowledge that I've gleaned. First of all, we have full service. So full service firms normally have one or two practice areas which they are particularly well known for, but are unique in the sense that they can offer a one-stop shop for all individuals or businesses who may have a range of legal problems in different areas. So really, the real one-stop shop does everything. Boutiques are often made up of small teams of people and specialize in niche areas of law. Because they're specialized, boutique firms tend to be market leaders in their field. So they usually pick one or two, and they only do that. And clients often choose them because they know that the lawyers they instruct are specialists in their particular type of legal problem that they have. Mid-sized firms can sometimes offer a combination of quality and value, which can appeal to smaller businesses and privately paying individuals. City firms, their close proximity to London's financial centre, and the extensive resources at their disposal. And a lot of the city law firms work within financial services and banking giants. So the clients of the city firms are usually included in the FTSE 100, so like the 100 biggest companies. London serves as a gateway to the rest of the world, so they tend to work on international projects with jurisdictions and clients who are based abroad as well. The Magic Circle, which I'd never heard 6 months ago, but the Magic Circle is an informal term for the 5 most prestigious London headquartered multinational law firms. They generate the highest revenues, handle the most international corporate and finance work, and consistently outperform the wider market in profitability. The other practice areas, such as employment, tax, and IP, which is intellectual property, typically support those major transactions. And that term sort of came about in the 1990s. The Silver Circle is sort of the one, I don't want to say below, but refers to a group of leading UK firms just outside the Magic Circle that also command strong reputations and deliver significantly higher revenue per lawyer than the UK average. They typically offer a broader range of specialisms than the Magic Circle. General practice then, these firms act primarily for private individuals who walk into their offices and ask for help. So high street solicitors play an important role in providing advice, which is closely attuned to the needs of individuals in their community. Although each firm can vary in the services they offer, common practice areas tend to be wills, probate, conveyancing, private client tax, family, personal injury, employment, immigration, crime, housing, housing on the contentious side. And they might also provide commercial and property advice to small businesses. European and international firms do what you think that they do. They work for international, so they're working, and I have my own experience of this, is working sort of internationally across different time zones, which can be really challenging, but really rewarding as well. And sometimes vastly different cultures and languages. But with that in mind, working at an international law firm is one of the best ways to get a sense of and to be a part of how a law firm operates on a sort of global scale. US firms are characterized by international work, small offices, more intimate training programs for trainee solicitors. Many of them pay phenomenally high salaries, but they come at the price of lawyers being expected to work very long hours and high worth international deals for clients who may be in a different time zone. So, yeah, I wanted to give you some of those details. Ruairi will be able to touch on which of these sort of applies to Fieldfisher. In terms of business model and profitability, so traditionally lawyers are time-based, so clients are charged on how long it takes to do the work. So it's either fixed fee or hourly paid. So that's why accurate time recording is absolutely vital. We hear it all the time within our firm. It doesn't actually apply to myself and Ruairi because we're not fee earners, but it's every 6 minutes, which is incredible to me, but it's every 6 minutes gets billed out. So each fee earner has a charge out rate, and it could be a fixed, say, it could be like £200 per hour for a junior lawyer. Fee earners have to record how much time they spend on each file, specifying what tasks they are doing. Because if you're billing out to someone, you have to show what they are paying for. And at the end of the month, the system adds up for each matter. So the matter is sort of the case that is attached to that, and how much time each person has spent, and multiplies it by the charge out rate, and then the partner then decides how much of it they can bill. Other billing arrangements for our we can have discounted charge out rates, fixed fees, so that would be irrespective of how long we have worked on that, it will be a fixed fee that will be charged out, or capped fees as well. So if you have a cap at, say, 20 grand, even if our time recording goes above that, the client will just be billed that 20 grand. I'm saying just, that's a high amount of money, but so we try to encourage monthly billing where possible. Estimates can be put together by partners and finance, which can be quite a difficult thing to do as well. But that's, as I said, for sort of the partners and finance teams. We have fee earner targets as well. And these are given targets for how many hours they will record over the year, which is why it's important that of time clocks and time recording. Other useful terms that you might be able to that would be useful for you are utilization and leverage. So if I go for I'll actually go for leverage first. So in the law firm, leverage primarily refers to the ratio of junior lawyers to senior lawyers, indicating how effectively senior talents' high rates are multiplied by supporting more junior staff to handle the work more efficiently and profitably, allowing partners to focus on more sort of high level tasks and business development. Higher leverage means that more associates per partner, increasing capacity and potential revenue, while lower leverage offers deeper partner mentoring but less work volume, impacting profitability metrics like profit per equity partner. And then in terms of utilization, that refers to a key metric measuring how much of the lawyer's total work time has been spent on billable client versus non-billable assets, which would be like admin, meeting, breaks, etc. Calculated, there's a formula for it, I'll not go into it, but it indicates firm efficiency, profitability, and resource allocation, with higher rates generally signaling better performance, but also requires balancing against burnout. So as you can see there, the general business model of a law firm is very ingrained in sort of time recording and how long is each lawyer working on each particular case. So we have the chat function here, I believe, and this is just to get you thinking, try to get it, make it a wee bit more interactive. But is anyone able to tell me what any of these roles do? Feel free to put your answers in the chat function. So we'll go first for a lawyer. Is anyone able to tell me? Okay, fantastic. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And brilliant, brilliant. Yeah. So I will move on, but thank you so much for your engagement there. And from my own point of view, and as I said, I'm not an expert in all things law, but I would agree with a lot of the sentiments that have been put in there. But I can run through just the definitions that I've got here. So lawyer is used interchangeably, but usually is the umbrella name for qualified professionals in law in this country, in the UK. So yeah, I think there was a couple of people who had sort of agreed with that there. So yeah, anyone who's got a law degree is a qualified professional in law is a lawyer. Moving on, a solicitor is most common lawyers you will come across in our firm are actually solicitors, and tend to be experts in providing one or more legal service. A legal executive is more on the level of senior associates. They're a different route into the legal professional. Into the legal profession historically relates to rule that you have to have a degree to be able to study for an LPC. It's a different regulator. Barristers, as you said, are more sort of representing people in court. So similar to solicitors, that they provide a specialist legal advice, but they tend to represent clients in court more frequently, and again, a different regulator. And then we actually have foreign qualified lawyers. sometimes they can be more difficult to hire into the company just because of the laws and the regulations that we have, but can be attracted to different clients as well. So there's sort of pros and cons to that. But yeah, it's anyone who's sort of qualified in law in a different country. We also have something that I'm putting in there, but it's in-house counsel. So some of our clients may request in-house counsel from one of our so some of our lawyers who would go into that company, and they would sort of be the in-house counsel. So they're sort of sitting lawyer within that company as well. But thank you so much for your engagement there. There's the other ones there. Thank you. So I'll go into the levels of lawyers. So in terms of early career, we have paralegals, which is sort of supporting the lawyers, and trainee solicitor or solicitor apprentices as well. Then moving on, there's qualified lawyers. So we have solicitors, as I've talked about, associates and senior associates. The more sort of senior roles that we have would be directors, a salaried partner, and an equity partner. So equity partner obviously has equity within the firm, which is a very new concept for me coming from the world of financial services and investment banking, that the partners own the firm, which is obviously why a lot of law firms are usually surnames of the partners. But it's I think it's an interesting way. It's more of a partnership, where the sort of the very high people within the company actually own and actually care about how the company is run. And then specialist legal roles, we've got the PSL, which is professional support lawyer, consultant, or legal professionals as well. So these legal professionals could be legal assistants and are usually delegated to by a qualified lawyer. Some of the types of legal work that there's contentious or litigious work, and then non-contentious or non-litigious. So contentious or litigious work involves disputes. This can include court proceedings, arbitration, mediation, or investigations. The focus is on managing risk, protecting the client's position, and resolving conflict. This work's often really fast-paced, deadline-driven, and reactive. On the other hand, we have non-contentious or non-litigious. Work focuses on advisory and transactional support. So this includes drafting and negotiating contracts, supporting transactions, and advising on regulatory or employment matters. The focus is on structuring arrangements properly and preventing future disputes. So, sorry, thank you. So that's just a wee bit of a background into that. I know that Ruairi hasn't went into exactly who we are within Fieldfisher, but I thought it might be useful for you to see, just as an example, how our firm is set up. So as you can see there, we've got the equity partners at the top. As I said, they are the owners of the company, and they sort of make the ultimate decision on a lot of things. They have you can see it just from that wee diagram, from the key there, any solid line is a reporting line, any dotted line is advisory or consultation. So the remuneration committee, for example, will be advisory to the partnership selection committee and the supervisory board. And then you can read down there. It's a reasonably flat structure, I would say. At times it can be a wee bit vertical, but Fieldfisher works as a partnership, which means that decisions aren't made by one person at the top, but by groups of partners who come together to agree the direction of the firm. Because we are European Plus partnership, there are many voices involved in shaping how we operate and grow, and where we can get into where we are based. The remuneration committee makes the sort of key financial decisions for the firm. They set the salaries across the business and also decide on partner drawings. So they play an important role in how financial resources are managed. The supervisory board, their role is really about oversight. So they monitor how our legal teams are operating and help them ensure that everything is running as it should. We have our partnership selection committee. So this sits here. It's becoming a partner is not automatic. It's not, if you spend X number of years, you become a partner. It's a formal process where people are assessed by their peers. Each candidate needs to show a clear business case and usually links into our client strategy and long-term growth. We have our operations board. I'll not go in and explain every single one here, but we have our operations board. We have our managing partner. So at the minute, our managing partner is Rob Shooter, and actually sits at the center of all of this, which is quite interesting. They act as the public face of the partnership and communicate key decisions out to the business. They also bring information back from different departments so that the partnership stays connected to what's happening across the firm. Decisions such as growing the Belfast office, which Ruairi can talk about, or planning an office move would run through this level. The executive committee, ex-con, sometimes you'll hear it being called that, includes senior business services directors alongside senior business leaders from across the firm. They may drive our strategy and make sure that the firm is moving in the right direction. I'll not read out any of the other ones, but hopefully that gives you a wee bit of an idea of the overall structure of the company. So that would be useful for you. So how do law firms get and keep clients? So we have long-standing clients. Obviously, our company has been going on for many, many years, and a lot of our clients have been clients for a very long time. That might not always be the case, but long-standing clients are really where a lot of law firms sort of build their base around, and sort of a lot of word of mouth and stuff off the back of that. And that sort of feeds into the next point of reputation of department or firm, and it's recognised expertise. So individuals and teams build up their profile in particular areas, and that profile sort of acts as a marketing tool. And then moving into marketing, all different types of activities from taking a contact out for lunch or departmental events and firm-wide events, and even our LinkedIn as well. There's a tender or a pitch process. So if there was, so in the public sector, they would potentially put something out to tender, and it would be there would be a formal pitch process from submitting a very detailed tender, which is a big document showing how you would complete the task, through to presenting to a panel. And then laterals with client following, so looking to attract partners from rival law firms who you might think would fit well because of their experience and expertise. And actually, when a partner moves from law firm to law firm, they can actually bring their book of work, so some of their clients across. So you see a lot of partners moving between firms as well, which again was a very new thing for me to learn, but very, very interesting. And then cross-selling. So obviously we do a wide variety of different work, and if we are able to prove our worth in one particular function, we'll be able to hopefully cross-sell and utilize some of our other work that we do as well. And some of those things as well. But generally, it's just about providing a fantastic service and trying to keep those clients. Passing on to Ruairi.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Conor. So I'm just going to talk about a wee bit about Fieldfisher in particular. So basically, who are Fieldfisher? So we are a full-service, mid-sized European law firm with international offices. So we are a market-leading practices all over sort of the world's dynamic sectors as well. We've got over 2,200 people across 27 international offices in 14 countries with a strong European footprint. So this would include Brussels, Paris, Amsterdam, Dublin, and Milan. So we focus on 4 key industry sectors. We've got 5 key practice areas, and then we've also got alternative legal services. So that would be Fieldfisher Condor, Fieldfisher Trading Solutions, and Fieldfisher X as well. So our key practice groups. So again, we do have the 5 key practice areas, which are corporate and finance. We've got litigation and employment. We've got we've got property, real estate, and regulatory as well. And then we do have a business services function as well. So no law firm can operate without the support of its business services teams, who play a crucial role in keeping the firm running smoothly. So we do have our BD and marketing, we've got our finance, our human resources, IT, knowledge and information services, legal support services, operations, and risk and compliance. So essentially that enables our lawyers to deliver the best possible services to our clients. So how does a law firm make money? So a law firm essentially a law firm generates its profits based on the fees earned by its lawyers. This minus the cost of running the business. So the cost can be IT infrastructure, training, business development, and systems. So this is why our lawyers are sometimes referred to as fee earners. Essentially, they bring direct revenue into the firm. So this is a wee bit about our culture. So Fieldfisher is a people's first values-led firm with ESG at the core of how we operate. So essentially we support our people, our clients, and our wider communities. So with that in mind, our values are put people first. So this is to put colleagues, communities, and clients at the forefront of what we do. Embracing ESG, to collectively leave things better than what we found them, and collaboration to be the catalyst for success. Within Fieldfisher as well, we also have the Hive. So the Hive is our social committee that's based across all our offices. This purpose is to bring people together outside of their day-to-day work in a range of social activities. So the Hive would support events such as cycling groups, book clubs, and other social networks. This helps bring colleagues together and build connection across all teams and offices. As well as that, we do support a number of charities. So within our Belfast office, we support Cancer Fund for Children. Our Manchester office support Back on Track, and our London office, they support Access Sport. So our inclusion strategy, so it is to build an inclusive law firm where everyone belongs, to aspire to create a diverse workforce, level the playing field in our workplace and our community, and to establish a framework to measure the impact of inclusion. With that in mind, so we believe that our legal industry should not be closed off to anyone. So Fieldfisher has a number of networks that they would support in the inclusion and diversity as outlined in our inclusion and diversity strategy. These networks include the Pride Network. So this is a network that is aimed to provide a supportive environment for all colleagues. There's Women at Work, so is a network to address and tackle issues faced by women in the workplace. And then Discover Disability, a space to talk about disability and implement an inclusive change within our firm. As well as that, there is some of our recent rewards and recognition and news. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ray. Yeah, so as you can see there, like we have a very, very strong culture within Fieldfisher. Myself and Ruairi are actually members of the Hive committee, and we're really, really proud to be part of that as well. And we are looking at ways that we can help our clubs and initiatives within the company. So in terms of our Belfast office, I know that a lot of you guys are calling in from England, but just to give a wee bit of structure, our Fieldfisher UK, a lot of our lawyers will be based in either our Birmingham, Manchester, or London offices, and each of those will have specialties within that. But our Belfast office is the business support centre. So we don't have a huge amount of lawyers within Fieldfisher in Belfast. What we have are those business support functions that Ruairi was talking about, and I would love for you to have a think, and what I would love is for you to just sort of open your mind that there's so many different areas that you could go into with your law degree, or with depending on what degree you're getting from the Open University. But I would like to show some of those here in terms of early careers positions. So we have a lot of people with law degrees who aren't specifically going on to be a solicitor, but we have but would potentially be in our business support centre as well. And we are moving into lovely brand new offices starting on the 11th of May. And I think there's been a huge amount of investment into the Fieldfisher Belfast as a project. So really excited to be here at the minute. So early careers programs within Fieldfisher. So we have graduate client onboarding officers. We have graduate legal professional scheme, trainee negotiator program, pathways to practice insight scheme, trainee legal PA scheme, trainee solicitors. So this is just a selection of what we have. And to be honest, from working within Fieldfisher, it really is a case of whatever the business needs, we'll go out for it. So we can't plan too far ahead. We're extremely agile as a team, and we look at the business needs. So these are some of the things that we've been hiring for recently, but looking forward, it could be brand new programs. But for each of these, we, as an early careers team, we try to make it as welcoming and productive for everyone coming in as possible. So we particularly for our inductions, actually, even in Belfast, just specifically, we do a 2-week program. The first week is all in Belfast. It's all very general training, a lot of networking, making sure that everyone is comfortable. And then in the second week, we actually bring everyone over to London to meet our managing partner who I discussed earlier. So, and that sort of goes for all of our programs. We want to get everyone to our headquarters at some stage, meet the lawyers that they're potentially going to be, or the partners, sorry, that they're potentially going to be working for. I'll run you through some of the programs in a wee bit more detail, but you can absolutely look at our website and go into the early careers. Ruairi, actually, if you don't mind posting in the early careers link into the chat function, so you can have a look as well.
No problem.
So sorry,
we've also got, I'm going to post in as well, a link that you can sign up for any updates. So then we'll be in touch as well via email.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So trainee solicitors, which I'm sure is probably what a lot of you are going to be thinking about. But this is a 2-year program, combining for 6-month seat rotations, providing a mix of contentious and non-contentious seats to ensure a well-rounded solicitor. This is incredibly hard to get into just in terms of numbers of applications, but extremely valuable. Trainees are funded to complete the SQE studies with the University of Law, and these locations are in Birmingham, Manchester, and London. We usually open our applications in October of each year. So for this year, we have already assigned who is going to be coming in as a trainee solicitor in September. So it's nearly a year of recruitment. We usually get the word out to those people in the early new year. So really from October to January is the recruitment process, and in around that January date would be when people are reached out to in terms of who's going to be joining us as a trainee solicitor. As I said, it's very, very tough to get into. But there's a reason for that, and Fieldfisher are known as one of the best graduate trainee solicitor firms. We have our trainee legal PA scheme. So this is based in Belfast, and it's designed to help shape the future legal PAs of the future of our firm. So the trainee PAs come in, and myself and Ruairi did the induction in January in Belfast. And again, very, very tough to get into, but really, really good quality and a really good career path. And so trainee PAs would be completing training with practice administration and rotate into different practice groups for the year before moving into a junior PA role. So that's all in Belfast, September of each year, and a new intake in January of each year. Graduate legal professional scheme. So these will be people that won't potentially, there's not a direct route into becoming a solicitor, but this is a real fantastic career path in law, utilizing your law degree, but won't potentially might not lead to being a solicitor. But this is one of the roles that I would love for you to consider going forward. But it's a 2-year program designed to shape the future of legal professionals. So you'll be providing support to our practice areas based with the cross area specialist team, which we call the CAST team. So this is really, really broad. So you're getting exposure to loads of different practice areas with this role. Again, this is Belfast. Applications are open in February of each year and a new intake in September. So there are other early careers roles, a lot of them, and I really encourage you to go and have a look at our the links that Ruairi has just posted in there. So generally, the recruitment process for each one is an application form. So you'll be able to find these through the early careers link that Ruairi has posted in there. I really encourage you for your application form to make it. We as recruiters, I think the main thing that I'm looking for is effort, and I think you can see when it's a mass application that this is an application that's been copied and pasted across. So really, if Fieldfisher is for you, or whatever firm that you're trying to get into, make sure that you've tailored it to that law firm, and really try to show your motivation and why you think that you'd be fantastic for that role. If you proceed through the application process, it would then be a video interview, usually with myself or Ruairi. So this will be very familiar to you. So a video interview will again, it'll just be in a wee bit more detail. And again, it's our early careers team seeing how you might fit within the firm. And again, testing research and motivation. I think just generally, I say this all the time, but as an applicant, you have no excuse for not reading the website and being up to date. You've the whole internet's at your fingertips, but if you can just study the website of the firm that you are going to be applying for, would do you very, very well for the video interview. And then finally, we have an assessment centre. Myself and Ruairi have been completing assessment centres recently for our apprenticeship programmes. And generally for the assessment centres, what we do is an individual assessment, which is we work with the team that we're going to be the role is actually for. So if it's an IT role, we'll work for the IT team. If it's a trainee solicitor role, we'll work with the specific teams that are going to be hiring, and we sort of work out an individual exercise. Usually it's something like a in-tray exercise, you might call it, where it's sort of mimicking a day's work, and seeing how you might prioritize. So you actually don't need a huge amount of studying or any studying for these individual assessments. It's just to see how you might do with a sort of normal task. And then also in the assessment centre, we'll have a one-to-one interview. So that's actually in person. And again, that's just very similar to the video interview. It might go into a wee bit more depth. And then finally, we have the team exercise, which is my personal favourite. And that's where we get, it can be anywhere up to about 8 people. Usually like the numbers a wee bit smaller, but it can be up to 8 people for a really sought after role, and we give them a task that they haven't seen before, and it's up to them as a big group to complete the task. They have a set amount of time, so it's kind of mimicking work, although the task might be a wee bit strange, but it's supposed to mimic work in the way that there's a set task, a set time period, and at the end of it, could be some sort of presentation. So that's generally what we see in an assessment centre. We also might have, in between application and video interview, there could be a strengths assessment depending on the role, but that is usually completed online. And yeah, that is just to give you a wee bit of an idea of what the recruitment process might look like. I know that you've got other sessions during the week to go into more detail, but that is everything from myself and Ruairi today. Hopefully, we have given you a wee bit of insight into what life at a law firm is like. I know it can be quite daunting when you're like I know it was for me when I was applying to join a law firm. 6 months ago, 8 months ago, having never worked in a law firm, but I don't think it's as scary or anything as it sort of might be on the face of it. I've only from Fieldfisher, I've only felt very welcome, and yeah, your sort of your vernacular sort of only hopefully improves as you're going on, and a lot of these terms that we spoke about today sort of naturally just filter into your vocab throughout the months that you'll be working in the law firm. But yeah, I think that's everything from our point of view. Thank you so much for listening to us speak today, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Conor and Ruairi, and thank you for breaking everything down. I'm sure it's been really helpful for all our students today. So we have had some questions coming in. So if you're happy for me just to pose these, and appreciate you may not be able to answer everything, and that's absolutely fine. We have support here as well in the chat box from Polly and John Paul for any very specific questions. With a question here, are there any law fairs that you will be attending? So is there anything that you typically attend that our students might want to find out about?
Yeah, so we do try our best to attend as much law fairs as possible, given that we can't obviously attend everyone. But essentially, I've just replied to that as well with the link. We would reach out to anybody that does sign up, if we and essentially let them know that we are going to be in London, for example, or Belfast, for example. So if they do sign up, we'll be able to confirm where we are sort of the weeks prior to us attending.
That's brilliant, thank you. Another student asking, are you able to recruit European nationals at Fieldfisher?
So what we generally do is if they have a right to work within the UK, and there's a set time period, I can find out exactly what it is, but yeah, we'll look at the right to work within the UK, and that's obviously what mainly we're looking for, and yeah, more information should be on our job postings. So if you have a look at that there, but I'm happy to take that away if anyone wants to reach out to the early careers team at fieldfisher.com as well. Happily take that offline.
Thank you so much. Another question, actually, we do get asked this question quite a lot. It's a popular one. So one of the students is saying, what if we have already completed the SQE1? The OU Law degree route embeds SQE1 preparation, so many of us sit the SQE1 independently. So I suppose rather than waiting until they start the trainee programme, some of our students would be actually sitting that in advance. Is that something that Fieldfisher are open to in terms of presumably your trainee programmes?
I think essentially they would have to complete the SQE2 as well.
Oh no, I meant in terms of how would you view that? So if a student was applying and they had already completed SQE1, would you view that favourably? Or would you think that it would be best for them to complete that as part of the trainee programme?
No, yeah.
Sorry, where you go ahead.
Yeah, it's essentially it is all to do with the application process. There's no, we wouldn't sort of pick that over anything else. It's entirely up to them as whatever way they want to sort of do the FQA is no problem at all.
Okay, brilliant. So that would be positive for them to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think from a recruiter's point of view, what I'm looking for really is have they made a commitment? Are they really interested in law? And obviously, completing the SQE1 is a huge leap towards that. It won't necessarily, as a standalone, put you above anyone else. But it shows to me sort of informally that you are really interested in, and obviously the risk is maybe a wee bit less because you already have that secured, and we're only looking to SQ2. So, yeah, I would say it's definitely positive. It won't automatically get you a training contract, but it's definitely positive.
That's good. That's great to hear that. A question then, just I suppose leading off that it has come in is, what does a typical first year trainee experience look like at Fieldfisher, and how quickly do you get involved in meaningful work? And the student's also asking, which is quite interesting, I'm sure, for everyone else here, if you were in my position right now, what specific steps would you take over the next 6 to 12 months to become a strong candidate for Fieldfisher? And there's a third one, but I'll let you maybe start with those first two.
Okay, so remind me, sorry, what was the
So
first
sorry,
one?
I should have broke those up for you then, Conor. So the first one is, what does a typical first year trainee experience look like at Fieldfisher, and how quickly do you get involved in meaningful work?
Okay, I can take this one, Ruairi, you can take the next one. So the first one, typical first year as a trainee, sort of it depends on what seat you're going into, what rotation, but generally at the start we'll have our induction, as I've talked about previously. It's very general, a lot of networking. I think it's really important when you join a new firm that you try to chat to as many people as possible, make a good impression, and then you'll go into your individual seat. At the start, of course, there will be training. But from what I've heard from trainees, it really does ramp up in a good way. The support is there, but and we are there to support, but the amount of autonomy that you get in Fieldfisher specifically. I think we're, as Ruairi said, we're full service, mid-sized, and I think it's quite a nice size for a trainee because it allows you to, we're big enough that we are able to do a vast amount of work, but also we're small enough that you're given meaningful work very quickly. So yeah, that's how I would answer that, is that very quickly you'll be given meaningful work, but also the support is absolutely there for you as well. So that in general, in the first year, obviously you'll have two seats. So every 6 months you'll rotate. So that sort of in terms of responsibility and your work will obviously increase over the 6 months, and then you'll move into a new seat, and I don't want to say be back to the start again, but you'll be learning a whole new process, a whole new seat rotation, and then you'll start from I don't want to say the bottom because you've already got that experience of the previous seat, but you'll be given that time period to try to learn as much as you can in that new seat, and then sort of build up responsibility over the next number of months.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Conor. And then the same student has a couple of more questions, but I think everyone would be interested to hear. So if you were in my position right now, what specific steps would you take over the next 6 to 12 months to become a strong candidate for Fieldfisher? And then off that, what's something candidates often overlook that actually make a big difference in your selection process?
So with the next 6 to 12 months, firstly, I would definitely build the understanding of Fieldfisher and our key practice areas, especially the financial sector and energy and life science. Just sort of keeping up with not just Fieldfisher news, but general news of what's happening around the world. I would also sort of build up experience that shows maybe commercial awareness. So, and it doesn't have to be a law firm. It can be sort of like business services, going into anywhere, becoming a paralegal, even if it was retail work, as long as you sort of have sort of that commercial awareness that you can demonstrate. As well, I would also sort of recommend sort of the networking and engagement side of things within Fieldfisher specifically. So around September, October time of each year, myself and my colleague Eve, we would host events in Birmingham, Manchester and London, sort of like insight evenings. So we would bring along some partners, we would bring along current trainees, paralegals and future trainees as well, just so everybody can sort of meet each other, and sort of it builds up sort of more knowledge within the firm. So that would be my key 3 key things to focus on.
That's
Yeah,
brilliant. Thank you so much. Sure. Oh,
if
sorry, let you come
I
in,
could just
Conor. You want to add?
if I could just add, just generally, if I think that you should all try to think like recruiters, and what a recruiter wants to know is, does this person actually want to work in Fieldfisher, for example, or it could be whatever law firm that you're looking at. Do they actually want to work in Fieldfisher, or have they just sent out a load of applications? So how can you prove that you're really interested in Fieldfisher? But as well, even taking that back, how can you prove that you're really interested in law? You know, you might be completing a law degree, but so do so many others. What's setting you apart? So there's no one there's no one formula that's going to prove that. But if you can think of loads of small things, build up a bank, a portfolio of evidence of, I'm really interested in this type of work, and if you can bring that to an interview, you'll do well.
Thank you so much, Conor. And just off that, and we often get asked this as well, vacation schemes are incredibly competitive. Is there anything else that you would recommend that our students could do that would, I suppose, showcase similar experience? If they wanted to gain that exposure and put that in their CV when they're applying for trainee roles?
I think again, it's sort of come to like networking evenings and things
Yes.
like that, and sort of trying to get as much exposure. And this isn't just for Fieldfisher, this is for any sort of establishment, but trying to get as much exposure to that firm that you can, keeping up with the news. Even we've had people that would message, obviously myself and Conor on LinkedIn, but some current trainees that would don't be afraid to message them on LinkedIn. More than happy to give as much sort of help as they can. It's just trying to get that exposure, but and not being afraid to put yourself out there. And again, even if it is messaging somebody on LinkedIn, there's no problems at all with that, and with Fieldfisher anyway.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. Oh, sorry, Conor, let you come in again.
Yeah, just completely echo what Ruairi said. Just try and there's so many events that we're putting on, but also other law firms, and I think just trying to find any experience, any experience that you can put on your CV that is related would be fantastic. Even like volunteer work or anything like that. I know no one likes to hear that because everyone wants to get paid, but that proves to us that you're really interested in this line of work.
Okay, that's brilliant. Another student's asking, why would someone join an international law firm over a national one? How does the work differ?
So with an international law firm, I believe that it offers wider exposure. You've got lots of sort of cross-border work. You've got global clients, collaboration between different offices. So we had Siraj, who is on the trainee scheme this year. He done his 6 months rotation in Berlin. So he got to work in our Berlin office. So essentially, you get more exposure, and our Berlin office is our sort of implemented around AI. So it was very interesting piece of work to be in. So essentially, it's I think you get a well-rounded experience, and sort of it helps you understand how maybe a law firm operates, not just within the UK but internationally.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, law is like every country's laws are different. So it's not you're not just learning, one branch. You're trying to learn it all. And you might build up a specific bank of knowledge for one particular country. If you're doing a particular amount of work for example, within Germany. And yeah, so international just offers it opens up the whole globe, obviously more so than a national one.
Thank you. And just one final question, I'll squeeze in because I'm just conscious of everybody's time. A student is asking, and I'm sure many probably feel the same here at the OU, do you have any advice for mature students with non-legal work experience, studying a law degree and looking for full-time work in a legal field? might be similar to some of the other bits and pieces we were mentioning earlier about networking and reaching out on LinkedIn, but is there anything else that perhaps you could add to that?
I personally, I don't believe that that should sort of set you back, that you don't have any legal work. We believe in Fieldfisher anyway, any work is relevant work experience. It doesn't matter if you haven't been a paralegal. If you've done maybe 3 years in Tesco, for example, that's still a work experience that we want to hear, especially when you're putting in your application form. Don't think that we don't want to hear about maybe, as Conor said, the volunteering work, or working in, I don't know, like a retail shop. We want to hear it all, and it is all relevant experience. As well as that, there, I would don't be afraid to reach out to firms and ask for sort of like week's work experience and things like that. And there's paralegal roles as well that you can get into, or there's in our firm we have like cross area specialist teams. So it's just essentially trying to get your foot into the door, or in the door. But again, I wouldn't let that put you back just because you haven't got legal experience. It is all relevant.
Yeah, completely agree. Sorry, you're on mute, Nicola.
Sorry, I was just saying, is there anything else you wanted to mention there, or are you?
No, I again completely agree with Ruairi. I mean, we have to agree we're on the same team, but I really think that there's a whole, hopefully I was attempting to do today was show you that there's a vast array of roles within a law firm. It's not just lawyer, and there's so many niche roles, but there's so many mass roles as well. And I think it's really important that you keep your mind and options open, that you can utilize your law degree in so many different ways. And as Ruairi said, you don't necessarily have to have had specific legal knowledge or experience beforehand. But as I said previously, just try to show us that it's not a random decision, that you've maybe attended some sessions, or you've done this or that, that could help you when you're making your application for whatever legal role it might be.
Oh, that's brilliant. Just conscious of everybody's time, so I'm just going to do a quick wrap up here. So a huge thank you to Conor and Ruairi for giving up their time today and sharing your knowledge and insights. We really do appreciate it. I find it very interesting, and I'm sure all our students here today will have too. Huge thanks to our amazing students for joining us today. Please do check out the Succeed tab on the Law Study home site for lots of helpful careers information, and also today's recording and the other events that are taking place across Law Employability Week. The recordings will be uploaded here when they are ready. As John Paul mentioned earlier, you'll also receive an email in the next week with lots of helpful links, and it will also ask you to provide your feedback regarding the sessions you attended during Law Employability Week. We are really keen to receive your feedback. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today, and we do hope you have a great rest of the day. Thank you, Ruairi and Conor. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Take care now. Bye-bye.